Put your eyes back in your head.
I got like flavors.
Pry their eyes open and force them to see the truth. We will skin the sheep and sacrifice the weak. The unholy alliance has arrived.
How did that set up to be the you know what? Okay. They set this up. They set this one up. Because I'm thinking the Rise Up song was about to pop on, but it's all right. Whatever. Ignore that. As you guys know, you know who we are. The intro music was it was set up. I know that, Mad Mike. I know that. So anyway, we are the Ladybirds of AFN. And I appreciate everybody that's here. And of course, y'all know all the shows. So technical hiccup there. Mike set that up, y'all. I'm just saying. Mike set that up.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm just happy that everybody is here. Welcome to tonight, Tuesday. We're back at our regularly scheduled time. We appreciate you all tuning in, but make sure you share this out because it's going to be a special episode. Share it out. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Tell everybody that we on right about now. Let's do it. But before I do that, I want to introduce the ladies. How you doing, ladies? How are you doing? I want to start from the top. Next to me, who do we have?
That must be me, Christy from Mississippi. I'm still just that girl in love with the Falcons. So, you know, we've been here before, but hey, we broke that curse and we're moving on. We're happy to be in 2025.
Okay. I think I just came in from a different studio side. That's why we still got Mike's things up here. That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna move it and shake it. So I hope we didn't scare you, guests in the back. But and who's right underneath Miss Christy? Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Auntie Pam, located down south in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
About to freeze my butt off, but we're living. Thank you. Thanks for being in the 2025.
Hey, yes. And you know what? Happy New Year to everybody here. You made it here to Tuesday. Be definitely blessed and thankful of that, because some of us wasn't able to say that. So who's right next to Miss Auntie Pam?
Hey everybody, I am Bree from the AUG, and if you don't know what that's that is Augusta. We call ourselves, well, I consider us the little A. But glad to be on once again with you ladies to talk all things Falcons.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though we didn't have the season we wanted, like Chrissy said, we moving on up. We broke the curse. So great things to happen next season. I'm excited as a fan.
We're gonna get into that, a little bit of that eventually, because we haven't had our event session after the game. So you know, we've heard everybody's beautiful commentary, their thoughts about it, but they haven't heard the Ladybird side of it. But speaking of Ladybirds, we have a special guest in the house. I'm excited. She actually has made her appearance here before, but not necessarily this show here, the Ladybirds of AFN. So I am deeply honored to have another lady come on, and you guys might recognize her in the press rooms, on the sidelines, and on some television shows. So let's go ahead and bring her on in, everybody. I want to give a clap and a hoo-hoo to the special guest in the house. How you doing, everybody?
Wow, what an intro. What an intro. I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You need the introduction, because the reason why I enjoy bringing reporters in and former players is because, of course, the highlight is on the active player, the coach, the quarterback. But honestly, we get our news and updates from you guys. So, you know, we get to live through you, is how you take what you're seeing on the sidelines and the locker rooms and everything else. So to me, it's an enjoyment, because we are the voice of the fans at Atlanta Falcons Nation. So having that person that we get our sources from, our quotes from, to reference, it's an honor to have you here. And then, of course, we want to highlight you too sometimes. Let's hear about Miss Kelly Price. Just let everybody know who you are, Miss Kelly, and I guess how long you've been in journalism and reporting.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not familiar, I work for Fox 5 in Atlanta. I'm mostly kind of like on the Falcons beat. So I host 2 of our 3 Falcons shows, the Dirty Bird Report, which is like our post-game show that airs 11:30s normally on Sundays, depending on when the game is, 11:30 p.m. on Sundays. And then I also host Rise Up Tonight with Tori McElhaney, who works for AtlantaFalcons.com on Thursdays at midnight. So those are my 2 kind of babies here at Fox 5, and I love hosting those shows. So that's kind of my Falcons repertoire, I guess. But this is my 5th season. I've been here since 2019.
Okay.
See that it's been that long. So I was here the last time Raheem was here as well. But I've been doing this since I graduated college in 2015. So I used to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin, covering the Packers before this. So this is like my second kind of NFL market. But yeah, love Atlanta, live in Decatur. So
Decatur wins Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
So you here now.
We up in here.
Love it. So I'm having you a question asked. So are you a Falcons fan or are you a Packers fan?
I am neither, and I actually get this question a lot. I'm actually from Tampa originally, which we're not going to talk about that at all because I'm not an anything fan.
We're not going to talk about
that. I was like a military kid, so I don't really have like a deep attachment to any certain NFL team or really any pro team in any sport. My family's originally from Austin, Texas, so I'm not Cowboys or anything like that either. So don't really have a pro team of any kind. I think what I always tell people is like I'm fans of people. So I'm fans of, players, coaching staff, people that work for teams that I really, think are good humans. So even if they, leave the Falcons or leave whatever team like the Braves or anyone else that I cover and go do something else great, I'm still cheering for them because I just cheer for people, not teams.
And that makes sense, especially in your career. You can kind of bounce anywhere reporting is needed. So I definitely love the answer there. So, hey, you're just a jack of all trades here. So we love it, Kelly. Welcome again. Thank you for answering my invite. And of course, you're welcome at any time. You and Tori. One of these days, I'm going to have both of you ladies on at the same time.
That would be fun. Yeah.
But there's some things that's happening soon that you probably will be taking a hiatus for a couple of minutes, So with that, we're going to go ahead and get right into the conversation. And Ms. Whitney, we just got you in here. Can you introduce yourself as well?
No problem. Sorry, y'all a little bit behind, but the baby had to get together. My girl, it's your girl Whitney J from the A, ready to slay. It may be the end of the season, but we got a guest today.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And you know what, Kelly? I want to just commend you ladies because actually you, Tori, and all the women in sports reporting, entertainment. Actually, I mentioned this before. Whoopi Goldberg is launching a women's network of sports. It's huge for us. And that's the reason why Lady Birds developed, because more women talking sports. You don't hear it, it's overshadowed. You don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? You never played football? Actually, they're playing football now, so you guys are an honor and an inspiration to why Lady Birds began. So thank you there. And so let's go ahead. We're going to ask you some questions and we just want to hear your side of it because you're right there, right next to the player. You get the good stuff. So my question is overall experience of being around the team. And of course, you said you've been here for about 5 years now. So that's why I thought that question was a little bit, up your alley there. It says throughout the transition of players and coaching, I'm sure you've seen that go around a little bit with that ring around the rosy of our staff and players, quarterbacks. What is your overall experience isn't just being there with this team, with the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, it's overall a positive one. I have no bad things to say about anyone in the organization, right? Like, I enjoy the access that we get. Obviously, with Fox 5, we have like a partnership with them. So they've been great partners to us just in that. But, I mean, it's obviously been tough years. I don't need to tell you guys this. You're fans. You've watched this team even longer than I have. It's been a couple tough years, 7 years of not making the playoffs and not having a winning record. That's tough. I mean, it doesn't matter who's in that locker room and what the kind of reasons are of why that happened that year. It's tough. So I can't say that, I definitely wish I've covered a playoff game since I've been here with them. I've covered a World Series with the Braves, and, I've seen what that looks like for a different organization in this city. And I just think it's so special when the Falcons are good, especially at the beginning of the season when they were like 6-3, they were riding high. This city goes so hard for their teams when they're doing well. And it's so cool to see and be a part of that I wish we could see that a little bit more. But, I know we're probably going to talk about this too. I feel like there's still optimism. I know it's super tough. It stings right now, but I think, there is kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel, which is what they called Michael Penix Jr. I know that we're probably going to talk about all that stuff, but that kind of goes off of your question. But
go ahead, go for it. That's why I said, talking about the Falcons, you can go whichever way because it's so much to talk about throughout this season. It just ended, so
right,
a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the prevailing sentiment that I saw in the locker room clean out yesterday. Like there's kind of this, it's like bittersweet because you have the ending to 2024 season that you did not want. Obviously it ended so poorly for so many reasons, but then you have the 2025 side of it where you're looking ahead like, well, the future's kind of bright, especially on offense. So there's kind of this mixed feeling, I feel like, for players, I'm sure for fans, once they kind of get over the initial sting of their team not making the playoffs, it's like, well, you do have a lot to look forward to going forward into the future here. I think one of my favorite quotes that happened yesterday was Caden Ellis said, when you talk about building for the future could have been now, but you're still optimistic about the future. So I thought that kind of encapsulated how a lot of them feel and how maybe fans should be like, okay, well, there is some hope, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, y'all want to add to that what she was saying? Anybody? Whoever.
No hope, just still in the feelings about everything. I get that. That's valid. That's totally valid.
I'll speak on it. I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited. The Commanders game was all I needed to see, and I don't know. It just seems like September is so far away that I have to wait to actually get to 2025 season. But I'm pumped. I can't wait to find some more paraphernalia in the stores because I'm going to be ripping 10 times harder. Yes, 10 times harder than I normally am. But I talk to a lot of people. I tell them, y'all got a glimpse of what to expect all next season. So I'm excited as a fan. I just hate that we have to wait so long until that time comes.
Well, we got the Hawks, we got the Braves, we got Atlanta Dream coming up too. Right. I'm excited about that. I know you guys seen some of the coaching and the general managers changes up. I'm excited about that. WNBA ladies, let's get into that definitely. So we're gonna jump into the next one then. And shout out to the fans in the chat. I see you guys. We appreciate you tuning in. Continue to share this out. So my next question is, and then ladies, you guys can also chime in on this one. Kelly, overall, I know it's a lot to say. So just as brief as you can say it, to the best of your ability. Where do you think the Falcons went wrong this season?
I actually I've thought a lot about this, but there's actually one moment that I really feel like was the kind of turning point in hindsight, right? And it was the Chargers game, because you're coming off, you lose 2 games going into the bye, the Saints game and the Broncos game, which were, I don't have to remind you guys how just awful those games were. You go into the bye and you're like, okay, well, here's a chance to reset. You can come out of the bye. If you win that game, you're like 7-5, I think at that time. You go back you could go up to 500, get back kind of on track with things. And Kirk goes out, he throws 4 picks, they lose the game. Their defense doesn't allow a touchdown, and they still lose the game. I mean, that to me was like the game that you look back on, like that was kind of a turning point where it started to slide off, right? But that's in hindsight too. Like in that moment, I think a lot of fans, Raheem Morris, a lot of people were like, well, Kirk's going to get it back. Like that was just like a really bad game, you know, weird anomaly, right? But then you have the 4-game skid. Cousins goes on to throw no touchdown passes for however many games, 8 interceptions. It just kind of kept sliding. I thought it was interesting. Someone asked Raheem Morris yesterday about, do you regret going to Penix later rather than sooner? And his answer was, I don't regret it. The regret's not the right word. It's just that I felt like I made that decision after I saw that the rest of the team was playing well enough to win, and the quarterback was the reason we weren't winning. So I thought that was kind of like an interesting insight and kind of an honest answer from Raheem Morris.
Yeah. Maybe it looked like he was still having hope for Kirk at this point. Right. And it's like, okay, well, the team, I guess also bringing in another quarterback behind a team that he doesn't feel that are playing the right way or the best way. It's a danger to bring a rookie in here and get him injured and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying, but you should have did that a little sooner, in my opinion.
It's tough. Like hindsight's 2020, and like there's so many factors at play. Like you're paying Kirk a bunch of money, so it's like you almost have to ride that until the wheels completely come off, which is what they did.
And ladies, anybody have anything to add to that? How do you feel?
Yeah, by that the game before Kirk got benched in that press conference, one of the things he said that sort of disturbed me was, well, throughout my career, I got benched. There have been times that I got benched after 3 bad games, and it gave me some time to sit there and reflect. And and I was like, well, what is he saying? Because I think a lot of times people don't pay attention to what a lot of times, we don't know what the behind the scenes are. But he said that he played the next game and the same thing happened, and then he was benched. So it seemed like he was expecting it, but it also sort of gave us a picture of his level of confidence at that time. So he said he wasn't injured, but again, we get into our emotions and feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
But when he said
We're the fans.
It just gave us a snapshot that his confidence just wasn't there, and that he alluded to, well, this has happened to me in the past, and I was benched, and it gave me some time to reflect and then bounce back. But he played the next game, and
Yeah. I agree. Anybody else before we move on to the next?
I definitely agree with that the Chargers game should have been an eye-opener. But again, like Kelly said, hindsight is 2020. And I really feel like it was so much hope put into Kirk because we seen him play bad games and bounce back with the money. And while we were upset, and we can all say he should have went to Penix earlier, things like that, but I feel like it was about the team at that point. If I play a bad game, am I going to be replaced? Things like that, which is a thing in the NFL. But it's hard as a fan, kind of seeing where we were and where we ended up, and it absolutely hurts. And I personally, if I was the coach, I try to take my Madden / fan hat off and to put myself in a head coaching position, to, especially now that we're out, to say, like, if we didn't make this big deal, Kirk is this, and trying to give Michael time to sit behind the quarterback and to see if this is worth willing to do, and making this decision to pull him and put Michael in, because we don't know if it was possible that he may had that bad game and he went back to throw another 500-yard game. We would just never know. But I do feel like with everything that's riding and how us as a fan base is, and the promise that was made at the beginning of the year to outrun the South, that Rod should have just, instead of being a man's man, he should have just probably just put that back and just been a head coach, whether people like it or not, and just pull Kirk.
Okay, I love it. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. I agree. I felt like right after the bye, he should have kind of made that decision. That's just my opinion. Because they had 1 week to kind of figure it out. Okay, let's try it with the rookie here. It's hush hush what's really going on with Kirk's health. We don't know if he's just still nursing that injury or what. But let's talk about now, since they did make the changes mid-season, and it kind of thinking about 2024, this happened again, where we had a quarterback situation. These players, some rookies, some veterans, are still trying to adjust to the rookie, trying to adjust to Kirk. We had Ryder, Mariota, and all of them. So there hasn't been a consistency at who's at the center here. So, Kelly, what is the overall attitude you feel of the players currently? And because we saw some of your commentary in your post about asking some of those players those questions. It was kind of like I don't want to talk about it right now, but now that everything's kind of calmed down, what is the attitude of the players?
Yeah, I think it's still bittersweet because they hate losing just as much as you guys hate watching your team lose too. You know what I mean? They're not having fun losing games either. So I think there's still that bittersweet, you hate how this ended, especially you started so strong, 6-3, blah, blah, blah. We can all talk about all the optimism that you had early in the season that just kind of tapered off with the 2-6 finish or whatever it was. But there's still that optimism for 2025, knowing that you saw Michael Penix for 3 games, what he could do, and even just the progress he made in those 3 games with chemistry with guys like Drake London. Drake London had almost 200 yards in that game on Sunday, which is crazy. And that's just their 3rd game throwing together. They don't even practice together before, he became QB1. Yeah. So that to me is massive. And now they're going to have a whole off season. And I even asked Michael yesterday, I was like, what is your biggest priority this offseason? He said, it's to work with these receivers even more and kind of work on our timing, work on our chemistry, get that kind of up to speed to where I want it to be so that when we get to the next season, it's going to be even better than what you just saw on Sunday. That was kind of a cool promise that he made to fans that I think is going to come to fruition because it just will, just with the reps, right? It's not even, it just naturally will come. And he's such a mature guy. He's handling all of this just totally the right way. I think it was actually good for him to kind of be behind Kirk and learn some things. I think they have different strengths, especially in meeting and film rooms too, that he was able to see how Kirk operates and was able to take a lot of that stuff. And he's talked about this. This is not breaking news or anything. So I thought it was, he called this season fun for him because he really learned a lot. And I think that's only going to benefit him going forward. And I think that's why you saw Ricky Morris literally call him the light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully he is for this entire Falcons franchise to make the playoffs, to do all the things that outrun the South, all the things that they've been promising to do.
Okay, and I agree with you there. And I can see the maturity in him because even after the game, he's just like, maybe I should have just thrown it a little bit higher to Drake London. He's already in his mind what could I have done better in this situation? From what I'm seeing in the reporting, he's there 5 o'clock in the morning, ready to go and learn. And honestly, Ryder was like that. It used to be when Mariota and Ryder showed up together. So, but at that time, they didn't have a quarterback coach. So now, starting off with the new, rookie, you have a veteran coming in that wanted to be here. And of course, if healthy, still would have been somebody that he could have watched behind and learn and really get the right opportunity that we didn't feel that Ryder had because he kind of just had to get thrown in there because Mariota's like, oh, well, I'm coming over here. I think I'm hurt or whatever was the case. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But, and then of course, this is a speculation as fans, of course, the inside of what happened there, but all we can see is what we see. So I guess this leads into our question here.
I have a quick one, really quick.
Go ahead.
Kelly, does the coach still have the locker room? Are the players still believing in what Raheem is putting? Because a lot of fans, well, I won't say a lot of fans, we always on X have those trolls and different people like that who saying, he should be fired. He should be fired. But are the players still behind him?
110%. There have been so many players, and this is just something I have also seen throughout the entire season. It is a 180 from this time last year as far as like morale, just culture in the building. Like guys want to be there. I remember even during training camp, I go back to so many guys were like, I'm actually having fun again at work. And we've all been around a boss that, wasn't your favorite boss or whatever. And it's the same thing. When you have a boss who's cheerful and, brings the right vibe, every day, obviously wins and losses also matters in this field, but I think the culture is really, really important. And it's something that is so different than this time last year. 110% of the players are behind Raheem.
Okay, that's great to hear, especially because it gets disheartening reading a lot of the comments that fans have, or fair weather I like to call them, because I say that other fan bases who haven't seen a win in Jesus Christ know how long still have more faith and pride than what I've seen a lot of times. So it's great to know that Ross still has the locker room even with the disappointment of the season. And what about Terry?
Yeah, we'll actually hear from him. What's today? Today's Tuesday. We'll hear from him on Thursday, actually. Okay. We don't hear from him throughout the entire season, so we haven't been able to get any kind of gauge on him, since, I guess, the offseason, training camp or whatever the last time is he addressed the media. But so I will be very interested to hear what he has to say on Thursday, quite honestly. But again, like we kind of talked about this, like, hindsight's 2020. Like when you signed Kirk, you gave him a lot of money, but was there a better option on the market? Probably not. And you know what I mean? Like, and the Penix thing is looking like the right decision. And, you could talk about different draft picks and whatnot, but I don't know. It's tough to say, like, it's this person's fault. This person needs to be fired. I'm not really like a big, like, fire everyone person, because then you're kind of resetting that culture again. You're having to reset everything all over again. And it's basically starting that process all over again. So, Terry's obviously still around. We haven't heard otherwise. I know Raheem said the other day when he was asked about it, we're going to do everything together. This is a partnership and it's going to continue forward as far as we all know.
Okay. And Kelly, I do have one last question, because of course I know you're here for a short time and we want to get you back to your busy. I know you probably right now this off season, you still probably got some busy work to do to kind of wrap up. We got Terry coming up on Thursday. So, you already spoke of, Kirk and, Mike, but do you feel that, now that we have another quarterback behind there, do you feel that we are developing as a competitive team for the future? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I am the kind of person that is gonna kind of go with optimism as much as I can, and that's my life and my work as well. So I know it's tough the way the season ended, but I feel optimistic just about the future because of what this glimpses that we saw kind of at the end of the year of what this offense could be next year, because all these guys are super young. I'm a huge fan of Penix. I have been even throughout the draft process. I was a huge fan of him from afar, but now that I've gotten to know him, I think he's just an incredible leader. Like, just has a great character, just like a really good kid. On top of the obviously physical and on football field traits that he has, right, that we've all seen. So that is definitely something to be positive about. But there's a lot of players who are now free agents on the defensive side of the ball. There were a lot of those guys.
Talked about that.
Like Matthew Judon, Lorenzo Carter's a free agent, Justin Simmons, Richie Grant. I mean, there's like a ton of guys on the defensive side of the ball that they have to figure out what's maybe are they going to re-sign some of those guys? Are they going to bring in new guys? There's a lot of question marks on that side. And obviously the coaching staff, if, there's maybe a new DC in the future, potentially, I don't have any, I'm not saying that, I have no insight on that or anything, but just if that's a move that is made by Raheem, I know he said he was super disappointed in what that defense did this past Sunday, especially after what they did after the bye. It seemed like they really kind of were going in a different direction and then they regressed. So the defense to me is what I'm going to be keeping an eye on this offseason and what they bring in. There's a lot of cap implications. Obviously, the Kirk situation is one thing, but like, do they restructure, Grady, or what's maybe going on with him? There's just a lot of question marks on that side of the ball for me. But you still have AJ Terrell, who had a fantastic season. You have Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties in the National Football League. You have all these guys, Arnold Ebiketie, for all the heat he's kind of taken. He really took a turn for the best towards the end of the season. So you have a lot of guys on that side of the ball that also are promising as well. So there's a lot to kind of sift through on that side, and it'll be really interesting to see how the offseason develops.
Okay. We love anybody want to add to that, ladies, before we wrap it up with our guest.
I would. This is one of the exciting times in off season is for me, because I see football in sports two different ways. There's the football business, what goes on the field, and then there's the business of football, which is the behind the scenes, the operations. We currently have 30 free agents, and then there's a lot across the league. And then I'm like you, I've been looking at the defensive players that are coming out of college from some of those elite teams. And so I'm excited. I really want to hear what Terry has to say, because he serves as this middleman between, who are the coaches going to be looking forward towards the future, as well as, because last year this time he said, my job is 24/7, 365, as far as finding the right players that fit, what the coaches need to be successful. And so I think gunning towards the Super Bowl in 28 is what our main focus is. So I really want to hear what he has to say coming up, because I think a lot of times people don't think about, how does everything work? How does the dynamics of this team operate, and how, if you're looking at getting better, then what do the current players want? Do they want to stay? Do they want to go? Many of them have a 1-year contract. So this, to me, is where the scouts and the personnel that deal with a lot of the players and
their job is not done.
Admins coming up, it's exciting to me. And okay, now we had this experience and we had a lot of success. Again, we broke that 7-year curse as far as getting to 8 games, but how do we get even further than that this second year? So I'm excited just about that. But this is the time of the year when I like to look at, well, what are the operations doing?
That's right. Okay, I love it. Anybody else last minute thoughts? Any question or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I know that you all were at the facility for the locker room cleanouts. It was reported by DJ Ledbetter that Judon declined to speak to anyone, and also I think it was Jesse Bates had already cleaned out his belongings prior to reporters getting there.
Jesse was there. He declined to speak to reporters.
Okay.
Man, but you gotta think about it. I think their disappointment. I even saw BJ on the sideline kind of just like this. And it's like, you know what? I don't want a camera in my face right now. Or I'm still like, everything, you got to think about it. These are rookies. These are people that, put their heart into this one. So I can imagine it's like, I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't.
And did Kurt also decline? Did Kurt also decline?
Kirk was not there while we were there.
Okay.
Do you think they'll actually be trying to maybe retain Kirk or try to trade him off? Or actually, a lot of us are concerned about when it comes to Tyler. Do you have any possible insight on that, about whether or not if Kirk is feeling some type of way, or if we might not have our Thunder and Lightning anymore?
Tyler Algier?
Yeah, Tyler Algier. Yeah.
He's under contract. He's not going anywhere unless they trade him, which I can't see any scenario where they would do that. Yeah. He's what's his 3rd year? So yeah, next year would be his potentially 5th year option. So he's not going anywhere to my knowledge. As for Kirk, Raheem was asked about it obviously yesterday, and he's like, we're going through the process of evaluating everything going in the offseason. Obviously here, he said the way he ended it with Kirk was he kind of gave him a hug and said, see you soon kind of thing. So that's still obviously up in the air. I think both camps have been putting stuff out there that I'm sure we've all seen on reports on social media and stuff. So there's reports that, the Falcons, obviously, if Kirk waives his no trade clause, they want something out of that trade, right? Of course they would. But also there's that $10 million roster bonus if they don't release him before March 17th. So there's kind of two sides at play. It's going to keep playing out in the media. His agent's going to say stuff. The Falcons are going to say stuff, and feed their different narratives that they kind of want out there. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I know also yesterday Raheem Morris said that Kirk promised him, I'm going to be the best backup quarterback in the National Football League for as long as I am that here. And he's been doing that. So maybe that's Raheem also kind of putting out there, like that's potentially also an option to bring him back next year to keep kind of come along.
That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised either way what they decide to do. We paid them at this point, but we also still got to think about what's best. But Kelly, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you just giving us all this great knowledge from the locker room to the field to just your personal interviews with these players, coaches, and we be hearing you in there getting your questions in. Ledbetter gets the first go, but we hear about being there.
We love Dylan.
We're in the chat like, oh, ask this. Can you see this? So we need to get somebody to be on me. They be on the chat and say, hey, I think Ms. Pam said, could you ask this question? That's what you need from the fans' perspective, because we want to ask a lot of questions. Of course, you have to go by what they can answer. But just let us know what to expect for you, I guess, now with your projects coming up. Anything else you want everybody to kind of follow you on, anything like that, now that the Falcon season is pretty much over?
Yeah, it's kind of up in the air for now as far as, until the Braves really get underway. Obviously the Hawks are underway. All that kind of stuff is part of what we do. I always say I'm a jack of all trades because I'm covering every sport kind of going on in Atlanta from the high school level to, all the way up. So, TBD on what's kind of next as far as that. All of our Falcons programming for the season is done when their season is over. But we obviously still have Fox 5 news every night. But if you guys want to follow me on social media, it's the Kelly Price on all the platforms. Whenever there's a press conference or anything going on, I'm tweeting out, different sound bites and insights and things that I notice that I think fans would find interesting. So hopefully you do, because I find it interesting. Obviously on Thursday,
we always taking your stuff and it's like, yep, here's a screenshot of it. There you go. So, you are one of the go-tos that we follow all the time. So that's why we had to have you on here tonight. You and Tori, and congratulations to her.
I know. So does her. She's the best. I just love her. I adore her. She's if she has no fans, I am no longer on this earth, because she is just like,
I'm number one. I root for her, and I love it when she comes on too. You guys are just such a joy, and I just love to see the human in you outside of the job that you do. So it feels real great that you connect to our fans, and I think this is very important. That's why we bring it on, because our fans appreciate you. So
there's no me and my job without the fans. So I highly enjoy the interactions on Twitter and everything. So
okay.
Quick question, Kelly. Real quick. I just because I know they confuse Myles Garrett all the time. Do they confuse you with D. Kelly Price, the singer, at any?
Oh my God, I get it literally every day. Every day, I swear it's my real name, like on my birth certificate. Like I didn't make it up or like try to steal her thunder or anything. I take it up with my mom is all I gotta say. Can't sing like her.
Thank you. Thank you. We need draft picks.
Thank you.
And we're going to continue this show on out, but any other announcements, or are you keeping that?
Oh no, it's public, it's out there. I'm 8 months pregnant right now, so I'm
Congratulations.
That's why I was like, I can probably ask because it is on her social media. So
yes, it is out there. Mostly because if I don't put it out there, people will
Gonna
wonder and
see it.
ask, like, is she just getting big or what's the deal? So yeah, I put it out there. It's totally public. We're having a girl. Don't know the name or anything yet. Still deciding. But yeah, so that's also still to come. That's my next project, I guess.
There you go. That's why I was like, let me go ahead and hint at that. But congratulations. Seriously, I wish you all the best, the blessings for that. We would love to see the pictures of the Miss Reporter coming soon. And we appreciate you and your husband and everything. But thank you, Kelly, once again. It was an honor to have you on the show tonight. You have a great one. And be safe.
Thank you.
Wrap up, please, because it's cold out there.
Yes.
You know, especially now, you know, you're protecting too at this point.
Indeed. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Take care.
You.
Thank you. Have a great one. That was beautiful, everybody.
That was.
Yes, we can still continue to go because, of course, it's still regular schedule. So I know we didn't really have a chance to kind of get in, but I wanted to hear Miss Kelly Price's, you know, feelings about the team because she's right there in it.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, she got a good job. I was like, somebody give me some media passes so Maggie T and the crew can get on the field.
I know, right?
Get right there in Judon's face. What do you say about this? Cow picks. Why did you drop that? You know, I'm waiting on that one. So, ladies, let's get into it now.
Okay.
Now, let's get into, you know, the nitty gritty here. Now that, the smoke is cleared, you've heard a couple of things from Raheem. You heard a couple of things from Bijan and all of them. How are you feeling, ladies, about this season?
The takeaway from the Kelly Price, the singer, I'm tired. I'm tired of this feeling. I'm tired of being on the losing end of a season.
Yeah.
I'm tired of wishing and hoping every year.
Right. I know.
Oh my God. But I like listening to Kelly tonight and actually taking a little time after the sting of losing in overtime for the second week in the fucking row.
Yeah.
I am excited for the season. Of course, there are certain players I think should leave. Of course, we've seen the calls for the heads of Raheem. We've seen the calls for the heads of Terry. The usual. And then you see everybody hop off the bandwagon. Of course, I did my good, clean, no screenshotting. So, and when we do make that run, I'm going to post it and like, was this you? Was this you? So, because again, it was great to see Michael's performance, that arm. We've been talking about it, and to actually see it in 3 games, that boy is going to be deadly. He's going to be deadly. And I'm excited for next year to see how will he be with Moore when Moore comes back with injury. We definitely need to retool that defense, but if anything needs to be getting rid of, I am sorry, Jimmy Lake, you need to be fired. I mean, I don't care. There's a lot of good coaches that have been let go so far that are defensive minded. And baby, we need to do some hunting in the off season. We need to get a scheme that's fitting our players that are actually still on contract on defense. Because we've seen some bright spots this year, but for that nasty skid with the Panthers, that was just the jet. It really was.
Yeah.
But all we can do is keep on hoping, keep on wishing, because I don't care how many heart attacks I have, how much anxiety I have watching the game, and everything else. I'm a Falcons fan till God called me home.
Yeah, we have abusive relationship with the Falcons, but I guess I like abuse here and getting beat up by my team because I'm diehard loyal. You know, my overall feeling about this season, I see potential. I feel, but my thing is, it's always that every year. I'm here it is. I've been a fan pretty much all my life, more so born and raised, but more so like, you know, middle school or so when I started understanding what's going on in the game of football. It's always let's wait till next year, wait till next year, wait till next year. So now, after we made coaching changes, quarterback changes, team changes, this, that, it, the other, and we're still just one game over where we've been.
Yeah.
Is this
For
now an
7
overall
years.
ownership issue at this point?
Oh, we.
Can I speak on that?
Sure.
I had a friend that attended the game Sunday, and he did inform me that Arthur Blank's son was in attendance on the field next to him before the game ended.
They said blank on well, while watching the game, they said that there was a blank sighting on the side of the field. I mean, I took it to be Arthur Blank because of
Yeah.
how the commentators were the ones to bring it up. So that was
interesting. How you doing? How you doing? Because he's getting up there. What is he, 70?
He's in the 80s.
I think he's older than that. He's in the 80s. Yeah.
He's in his 80s. Yeah.
Because reports are talking about his son might take over. And for my friend to actually see the son there yesterday kind of shed some light.
Okay. Yeah. So he is grooming his next because it's time for him to kind of sit it on down. But at the same time, he's learning from behind him. So is it, going to be one of the same? Is he a little different? But of course, we don't know until that time comes. But let me go ahead and get some shout outs to some folks in here giving a chat. Cosmic Mindset.
And then I have another question based off of that too.
Go ahead.
In reference to this Rich McKay, from my understanding, I thought in the off season that Rich McKay is over operations for Atlanta United, and now it is Greg Beatles. And especially since it has been reported, based off of the press conference with Raheem on yesterday, he said that in reference to it's a partnership between he and Terry, and then between he and Terry is also he works through Greg Beatles. But there are a lot of fans that keep posting that it's a Rich McKay issue when I was under the impression that it was Greg Beatles.
Those fans are incorrect, and
okay.
They did not. And one thing that I keep having to go
Miss Christy, she'll research it. Look, she analyzed some stuff. Go ahead, Miss Christy.
Go back to after Arthur Smith was fired. Go from January to March. It's all on the Atlanta Falcons website. So a lot of people just saying things out of feelings. But after, again, going through those interviews, there was a lot of discussions, especially by that February 25th. But there were interviews, remember, Raheem was hired and did a press conference on February the 5th. And then those January interviews was Blank and McKay. Because remember, after firing Arthur Smith, that's all you saw were those two. Doing the press conferences. And they also defined in there what Terry's role, because everybody was asking about Terry, but they defined that his role was limited at that time, and that they were taking the leadership on, the search for the coach and this thing, but that he did have a role, and they were consulting with him on personnel, and that he would be that he's the middleman. He's the person that goes between the coaching staff, and all personnel and the admins. So that includes the scouts and everyone else. So all of those interviews, all of those things happened. The hiring of Raheem and the hiring of Kurt prior to you seeing Terry again. Because there is a February 5th interview where Raheem discussed the need to find a quarterback, that supports, that winning attitude of winning. So he was involved in that process. So a lot of people that are saying things, when I started posting in their chats, go back to this interview, go back to these interviews, then the dynamics begin to change, because a lot of times people are thinking of a GM in terms of what they see other teams do, like the Saints. Well, that GM is also the vice president. He has more control of who's coming in. So does Jerry Jones when you're looking at the Cowboys. So a lot of people have dual roles that have more control, but this man don't have that kind of control. But he does when it comes to sitting down with the coaches. This is from Terry's interview last spring. Sitting down with the coaches, finding out, what type of players do they need. This goes all the way back to Arthur Smith. There was during draft time, he kept asking him, "Hey, we got your man. Isn't this the man that you wanted? This is the guy. This is the guy that you wanted." And so Arthur Smith was so excited. So he's the middleman. He's the person. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. And me and my team are going to go out here and search for it. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's a good scout. He's definitely a good scout.
People don't ever need to expect that Greg Beadle is going nowhere. He is the money man that's been around. He helped orchestrate. And again, go on the Falcons website, look at operations, look up Greg Beadle. He was instrumental with exchanging the ownership to Arthur Blank. He has been with this organization a very long time before Arthur Blank got here. He is a guru when it looks at across the league, when it looks at philanthropy. You see Arthur Blank do a lot of things as far as giving, but that's a big part of his heart. But he is president of the Falcons. Nobody mentions that man's name. They just put it all on Terry. Terry answers to Greg Beadle.
This is the same comment. This is the comment I'm telling you. Because when I Google it, it says that McKay is CEO of the Falcons, but that doesn't mean he is president. He's not president of football operations.
No.
And that's what people don't understand that.
You have to look at, they have a hierarchy. So it's Arthur Blank, McKay, it's Greg Beadles, then it's Terry. But there's a whole lot of other people in between that nobody even talks about. They have their hierarchy online. But remember, again, go back to the press conference after the second interview with Belichick. Arthur Blank came on by himself. And he discussed that the movement of some of the responsibilities away from McKay onto Greg Beadles and Terry. Then there's a press conference with Greg Beadle and Terry sitting there. So a lot of content creators haven't gone back through all those press conferences last spring. That's why I said the off season is so vitally important, because if you pull up the NFL's operating schedule, yesterday was a deadline, Wednesday is another deadline. There are so many things that is happening behind the scenes. You don't have a clear understanding of football operations, the business of football. That affect the business of football, affect what goes on the field beginning in August. It affects if we have 30 free agents and many of them with 1-year contracts right now. It affects, we have so many defensive, bigger, stronger, more responsive, more uninjured, faster defensive players and linemen that are coming out of college right now. So to me, this is the melting pot that Greg Beadles and Terry will be a big chef in, because all these ingredients are out here. So how do you find the right mix? And to me, listening to those press conferences, again, going back to those years, because again, this is the time that Terry bought in Kay Nellis. In 2023. So nobody goes back and look at these press conferences. And if you look at some of the chats, some of these same content creators back then was like, what is this man talking about? What are they talking about? And that's what they kept saying in those Blank and McKay interviews. And I was like, they setting the tone for what is to come.
So Chris, let me ask you a question. Anybody.
And we saw some changes.
Anybody. I guess now that we pretty much, it's all on the internet. You can do your research, your operations. So, on the field and everything that's going on, as far as I saw a question, I think that was D. Coleman that asked that question. It was somebody, but it was basically, who is being fired this year? Who do you guys feel needs to go? Because we said it, 1-year contract, because they did that to wiggle around the cap space, like we talked about in the background, to make sure that we're not overpaying. Well, we overpaid another player, but Because of that, we had to, give these 1-year contract, 2-year deals, home team cuts. Somebody said Grady Jarrett may take a home team cut. So with that, Kyle Pitts has been in the conversation. Judon has been in the conversation. Now AJ is having a good career, good game this season. And of course, he's not going anywhere. But but it's just been a lot of fire the head coach, fire the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, this, that, and the other. Jimmy Lake got to go. Who do you guys feel needs to go?
As far as players only?
No, everyone.
I already told you. I've been Team Jimmy since before the mid-season, before bye week. New Orleans game was for me. I've been since New Orleans game when we lost in New Orleans, and I stand on it.
He's definitely gonna be the scapegoat. He's gone. I mean, that defense has not been up to standard at all. I'm gonna tell you that.
They did regress. What Kelly was saying, they did kind of just like, one thing about it is the Falcons just, when we have a good defense, it's just pass rush has been an issue. These things like that has been a fucking issue. Safety and all that. Come on, we got to get better here. We got a quarterback that can put some points on the board, get these guys some yardage. But we also got to have our defense stopping people.
We're not stopping anybody. I mean, we're playing the Carolina Panthers, and they scored 44 points. I mean, what gives? I mean, that's just
you let Bryce walk in about twice.
That's what I said. I mean,
well, like you said, based off of that interview, I already know he go because I ain't never seen Raheem pissed off, and every comment was defense, that.
He's a scapegoat right there.
He didn't say. He said, we got to evaluate the coaches. He didn't quite say, he's staying here.
He didn't say. He spoke highly of that offense, and we already know he's going.
Well, I still believe that how Raheem has been. When we started just this downward spiral of losing, his demeanor in press conferences and interviews is what I can't stand. It's like you're a halfway snitch a little bit, but you're the person in charge, but you're throwing other people under the bus. When do you take charge? So if you ever listen to other coaches in their press conferences, they take that kind of charge. But he's starting to be real repetitive. There are top 10 comments that he says on repeat. Actually, somebody has an article out there on, a reporter has an article out there on him on the top 10 things that he always say. And I was like, so we're not just hearing it from ourselves, but you brought these people in and you throw them under the bus. It's sort of picking this. It's sort of coward. It's sort of cowardly to me. Either you need
instead of saying, I'm gonna take the accountability.
You don't take accountability. Right.
So to me, you slick talk, but if you listen to him, like by that second game that we lost where Kurt was just throwing all over the place, he said, well, I called him and I texted him, and he never said he met with him, and I got a chance to talk to him about, and just try to encourage him. And I was like, did you see him? Did y'all meet? Did y'all go over something? He didn't say it. So again, going back to the press conferences, because I let him play, and then I'm looking at the transcripts, and I was like, this is some crap.
So I got a question. Someone sent me a message saying that reports are going around, I don't know how true this is, that he wanted to play Penix sooner than Penix actually played. But due to politics that was not under his control, he really wanted to play Penix. And I feel like that's probably the reason why we kept hearing the rebuttals in these press conferences, because he just has to say that to kind of alleviate him saying, this ain't what I really want, but I have to do it because we paid this man all this money. So
that's all
my hand is being forced to do this. I'm thinking, that's why with all these top 10, I'm telling you, I'm riding with my coach.
I mean, we
somebody up higher up made him play him.
go back to the press conference after that last game where Kurt was throwing all over the place. He said, Kurt is our guy, da da da. And it was within 2 days, all of that changed. I think it's the opposite. That from top down, they said it's time. I don't think it came from him because it doesn't seem like he makes a decision like he would ride with whatever his decision is to the death. And again, go back to these press conferences he said last week and how flipped he was with the journalists. That was sort of crazy to me because especially when you discount fans.
Yeah.
After his press conference yesterday, I went on a whole paragraph rant on there like, hey, how do you discount fans? How do you say how fans feel, the amount of money we pay, the amount of time we take off work, repping, we having to buy all our stuff, especially out of state fans. We catch hell.
Season ticket was sold out. We was promised something in the beginning, and that hype got them to buy those tickets.
Yeah.
You're trying to talk about and keep people in the seats, but the product that they're giving us every year,
it was not
up to par for me. But
y'all emails come out in February, right? For y'all new ticket prices for the
they already out.
They already out.
I get that information, and Monday they sent out, hey, the 2025 season's on board. You know, if you want to talk to an agent, they sent that email Monday. And several weeks ago, they sent out emails about it, and they sent the prices of the different options. And then before that, when they announced the 2028 Super Bowl, you could start your little payment plan for it.
Oh yeah, they sent that out last.
That's what I'm saying. For people that travel and roll hard with them, you get those emails. You know, if you signed up for it. There have been stuff that I've said. I get an email. Hey, do you want to talk to somebody about this, and this?
Yeah, I want to talk to somebody about it. Put Arthur Blank on the phone, please.
Right. Look here. I commend you, season ticket holders. I'm a diehard fan that will buy tickets prior to a game and planning out, but I can't do no season tickets till they prove to me where my money going and it is going in the right direction. That's a lot. I commend y'all because I know that's because I be complaining what I be paying to go to one game. So I can't imagine what y'all paying for a whole season.
If it wasn't for the fact that I got one more payment on my licenses.
Oh, so you're fully
I completely own my licenses. I got one more payment on that.
Look at you. I want to be like Miss Pam.
I'm gonna be like Miss Pam when I grow up too now.
Y'all don't super cats and hit some cash out.
But my expectation of this team, this got to get better. That what I saw on the field, I was not happy, but I was quite pleased when they announced that they were going to start Michael Penix. That because going into the Giants game, I was like, I don't know about this game. You know, I mean, it was just a dread feeling to go to that stadium and you know your team ain't gonna perform the way it need to perform. But when they announced Michael Penix as a starting, you know, that boosts my morale. I said, okay, he's gonna start. I get a chance to see him and see how he does.
It did bring a little bit more excitement back to the team because we was depressed. We was depressed, like. Come on, man. Like it was like we was reliving the last season over again. It's kind of what it felt like. Like this can't be. Because we were number one in the South. We had it right there in our grasp.
We had it in our hands.
But think about it though. Honestly, if you really look at the whole season though, we had been skating by the skin of our teeth though.
Yes.
So we really let's just look at analytics of all the game. Yes. There was exposures. We was running away from what worked. You know, the red zone was still an issue. There was a lot of things and holes that we still have to fix at this whole. It was a grace of God that we won these games, but we was winning. You know, we was actually losing games we should have damn won, and you know, it's a lot of things that we still, as a Falcons franchise, need to clean up before we. Definitely be considered competitive. I'm tired of the non-complete team. You got the offense looking decent, then you got the defense going backwards.
Yeah.
We maybe got a couple of quarters of a full football team, and then it's like, oh, you know what? Let's take Bijan off the field. What happened to Algier? What?
That Washington game really pissed me off because you went away from what got you got you in the lead, the running game. I mean, you went away from that completely. You know, I could not understand because they were ranked number 30 in run defense. Why are you going away from that? You know, that would really
like,
piss me off.
They don't want to put a beating on the team. They just want to beat them by a little bit. They just don't want to. I'm just like, put your foot on these boys' neck. You going to win. I want you to win by a lot. Not that to have me on the edge of my seat, stressed out, blood pressure high.
Big old men. Get these guys. Come on. And
do us like the Saints did us last year. You run up the score on us regardless. Yeah.
Now that's going to be another show for you, Ms Maggie, because you know, you got the Falcons therapy. I mean, just all over. You see that as a lot of content creators thing, but it's the difficulty being a Falcons fan. It is that edge on that those Fred Sanford heart attacks we were having every week. Those fourth quarter, you know, the anxiety attacks that you have, and then the lose, man.
That's a good idea. I think we're going to have us a come to Jesus therapy Atlanta Falcons session. Maybe the next episode. I think we might have a special guest in 2 weeks. I'm not sure about next week. So maybe we can do a little therapy for the Falcons, bringing the Falcons fans on. Y'all can vent and breathe. Speaking of, how do you guys feel about having a couple of people come on and kind of speak their piece or for the last couple of minutes of the show?
Yeah.
I got a question before you bring somebody on, because we all know that Grady is. I love Grady. That interview was just brought tears to my eyes. I know he wanted to say that he probably wanted more than anybody on that team. But do you think Terry will be in a situation of kind of giving him, if we this close in hindsight, being very optimistic about the season, do you think an offer will be on the table to give him a pay grade, a downgrade on his salary just to come back for another year? Do you think that will happen, or you think it's just time to cut ties with Grady? Because I really feel like he wants it for the city so much, but he knows his time has come to an end. But do you think he will be willing to take a pay cut?
I think Grady's loyalty, especially after he had that injury, he worked out. He was ready to come back because he know what type of presence he is to that locker room, to that defense. Look at his dad. You know, he just got that competitive spirit in him, Tuggle. You know, so I feel that he possibly may, because he is up there in age at this point. Right now, it just wasn't a great season for Grady. Who wants to add him to the roster at this point? He's starting to gear towards second option, you know, practice squad type of. I'm just saying. I do feel that he wants to retire as a Falcon. We don't have that too much on this organization. I think he is proud to be an Atlanta Falcon, because look at the things that he do outside of the locker room.
He do a lot of
he is very much in the community.
But this the other thing. You have 5 defensive backs that are veterans. I brought this up at mid-season in quarter 2 about, man, they don't practice, and somebody said, well, they're vets and they get that day off. But we ain't in no situation where you as a professional, on days that I feel like my work, I need to be at work because I can have that flexibility of working from home some days and being in the office on days I know I need to get my butt in the office. They were off those days, and it showed on the field. And it's like 5 of them. So why is there such an arrow, this target on Grady when there's 5 other, it's 5 of them. Y'all not mentioning
Oh
any
yeah.
of the other
Oh
folks.
yeah. But
So
he's the
at
start
least,
of that though. He's the
but at
you know.
least he has a leadership role. They listen to Grady, and when we made those changes to be real aggressive, remember those prior to this game. I don't know what this seemed to be a retraction back to the same type of plays being off, and just it wasn't there. But it also made me believe again how Raheem was last week going into this game. Was there something else going on behind the scenes that now we're going back to this old scheme instead of playing the way we were being successful at? What's going on between the coordinator and the head coach?
We got some questions, ladies. I want to get to these questions because there's so many comments, and I'm doing my
that's
best to
what I
hop
was gonna ask. Go ahead.
I'm gonna get to some of these questions because I don't want to leave it. Anybody's asking some great questions here, real quick. Let's see.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of Grady because you need a type of leadership that
I don't think they're gonna get rid of Grady.
If you get the younger defensive players in, they need a veteran that's gonna be able to lead and sort of have that patience to show them what they need to do. If anything, get rid of the coordinator. That's who I see leaving, and people need to stop. I just saw somebody put up that comment about Pitts versus he's a tight end. Well, y'all you cannot
he's tight end.
He's not a wide receiver.
He's a tight end.
He's not a running back.
It's
tight
stupid,
end.
but I believe that Grady is going to stay. I believe the scheme needs to change. Really, honestly, they don't have him in the appropriate scheme for his body type. He was getting double teamed all the time. It's only so much that him and David could possibly do, really honestly. I believe that they need to fit the scheme perfectly to what they got. And honestly, I agree with somebody in the chat that said that really honestly the defense is 85% set up for what Arthur Smith wanted it to be. You got Roro coming in, you got Trice that's injured coming in next year. That if they get the right defensive coordinator, I believe Grady was shining. Grady had his moments. I just don't, with the loyalty he have and everything else in the leadership he shows, and even with him feeling dejected with this year, the positivity that he was still speaking, I do possibly believe with as much money it is, they might push more money to the back end to his contract, or he may take a pay cut because, I mean, it's there. They just need to put these players in the correct position.
Correct. Because I was going to ask you, do you think he had a regression season due to the way he was being utilized? Because when, I'm trying to think of his name. Ryan Nielsen, he was playing up until his injury. He was playing lights out. It's kind of like, so we can't sit here and call Grady a bust this season, but we gotta realize we dealing with apples and oranges as far as defensive coordinators and how they were utilized. So you can't blame him. He's doing what is told of him to do. Yeah. So you gotta look at who's over him that needs to be changed, and then we can. And I'm telling you, the day that I saw Ryan Nielsen, I just wish he trusted the process. But I feel like he left. He took the job. I can't remember where he went in Florida.
He went to Jacksonville.
He went to Jacksonville before Raw was even announced.
I feel like if he realized, I think he thought Belichick was coming. I'm just gonna say that. I think he thought Belichick was coming, and not a chance he was gonna take because he probably wasn't gonna be here. And I feel like probably if he realized or just kind of waited it out, so to speak. But I know that everything is fast paced in the NFL as far as positions. But if he realized Raheem was coming, I think Raheem would have kept Nielsen, especially the way that the defense operated last season. I think that what we would have had, we would have really had a good team this season had he stayed. That's just my opinion.
I think Raheem didn't want Nielsen there. He had his own guy. So? He had his own guy. Jimmy Lakes was his own guy.
But Nielsen got hired before Raheem.
Raw got here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With Nielsen waiting and out, you don't think he would have picked him up based off how the defense did that season?
I don't think he would have kept. I don't think he would have kept him because he had his own. That's why they allowed him to go ahead and lead to go to Jacksonville because of that. Because if they really wanted him, he would have stayed.
He would have
They
stayed.
really wanted him.
I wish he would
Mucho.
have stayed.
I got an answer for Mucho.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that question. So, as far as Kirk, what do you think is going to
Mucho.
happen with him?
Check this out. Kurt has never talked about his own contract himself. That's his agent, who is. I wish he would negotiate my pay raise, please. Kurt has not. He's had this man for a long time. Whoever it is, whoever his agency or agent is, he's not going to speak to what his next moves are. This going to be all about behind the scenes, some money moves. So I could see why he didn't say anything, because he's never had to say anything about what the next moves were. His agent has always handled that.
Okay. And let's
So you
we
think
got
he go to the
15
Browns?
minutes of the show, ladies. We're gonna probably bring in a couple of folks. Y'all can go ahead and keep going. Just give everybody a couple of minutes. 5 minutes now. Don't be on here long, ladies and gentlemen, because we're trying to get up out of here
I gotta go to
in an
work.
hour and 30.
Do you think he goes to the Browns while we waiting on somebody?
Maybe. I mean, I think that might be a good set, but it's like, I mean, obviously Michael learned a lot from Kurt. You can tell. But it's just like the money is going to be a thing, because while people may be on Terry head, Terry got us out of cap hell. And I believe he can do some things to get us up out of there too. It's just that we got to find what fits. And the thing is, it has to start with getting a better defensive coordinator. It is what it is. And like somebody mentioned, looking at the end of the year stats for the Falcons and how high the offense was, even with Kurt skid, and how fucking low the defense was in huge categories like pass rush and things like that. That shit needs to change. That scheme needs to change. Even I mean, it just things need to change, and it's gonna be Ra's opportunity going into his full first off season where he's not going through a hiring process. Him and Terry can sit together, be able to go through this. Hopefully Rich McKay ass is as far away from the table. I hope he ain't in no speakerphone. I hope he ain't in the building, nowhere near any type of conversation when it comes to what's going on with picking anything when players, coaches, hell, I don't even want you to pick janitorial staff. Something got to give.
Not even a towel boy.
Not even a towel boy, baby. Don't pick the Gatorade flavors. Don't do nothing.
No, not even the hot dog stand. You can't even get them. No parts of it. I love it, Whitney.
Oh goodness.
No parts of it, because she got to change. I actually got into it with a couple of people online because they was just like, it was 8 and 9. This is just like last year. I said that's one more game than what we had in 4 fucking seasons. I can say this, and the fact is, I can agree with what Kelly said. Even though Bijan was hurt, and that hurt my heart to know that Bijan was sitting on that side.
He about cried.
That hurt
he
me
about
to
cried.
Yeah, he did. He was crying on the
He
sideline.
did, yeah. That thing when I'm like, roll time to show him, but
I said, please don't show him.
I
but
felt
the thing
bad.
is,
I felt bad.
Yeah.
I said it was hurtful to see him, but to know that he still have a belief in God and he has a belief in his team. He not no diva, and him and Tyler walked off arm in arm.
Well, that right there, they better not split them up.
They better not split them up. That's why I was trying to ask Kelly to see if that information, because people might say that Tyler is actually a good piece of trade, but I'm praying to God they do not touch thunder and lightning. But I would say it's so much. It's so much that they could go with the light at the end of the tunnel, but they just got to make some changes. I forgot my thought a little bit, but it's gonna come back to me.
Speaking of goals, this question right here. Thank you, Lucho, again. What do y'all think is gonna happen with Koo?
I think Koo gone.
Koo gone. That's a hip injury. They ain't gonna speak on it, but he reported
they finna look for another kicker.
He came to them. That's why he was on IR. He came to them, and per the report, quote, he came to them and told him that he think he is hurt, which we knew it all along, but how y'all didn't realize this? You got that doggone Emory Healthcare Center at the facility with all this MRI machines and hospital over there and didn't utilize it. It's apparent, but I think Cool's
Also,
done.
he's just because he's the man that we've depended on, the Pro Bowler. He didn't want to admit to, hey,
He hurt
I
himself.
might not quite be right this year, y'all. Sometimes it
But
can be
that hurt us.
that did hurt us.
Right.
That New
And
Orleans
remember,
game definitely.
he got
In the last game, that hurt us.
Right.
I mean, that could have won the game for us right there.
Yeah.
But he got
missed
hurt
that,
in
missed that
23
kick.
and changed how he kicked. I mean, as a result of that injury. So it has grown to this. I don't think he'll ever kick the same.
No.
Yeah.
I think if he works out, I think he may be gone. But regardless of the shit that happened this year, Cool was still one of the better kickers in the fucking league.
He was in the top 5.
It's like I just find it hard for them to want to pass on Cool because finding a good kicker is so difficult in the league. But whatever injury he has, I hope he rehab and figure something out. But they will have to find a backup. But it's so hard to find a kicker. Everybody keeps saying bring back that kicker that used to be at fucking Georgia. I'm like, I'm gonna need somebody.
You don't want Ricardo Blankenship. You don't want Blankenship.
No.
They got other kickers. It's just they just gotta find.
Because he's not playing for anybody. That's why, to my knowledge, he's not playing for anyone.
But he
I wish he just had the surgery to correct something. But
Nyght Ryder.
Because even if he get that hip replaced and fixed or whatever's going on with that, he's gonna probably be down for a minute.
He'll be just like Matt Bryant. Once you injured in a certain area and it did not heal up right, and then remember Cool had to change how he was kicking as a result of that. He has never been the same, and so was Matt was money. He was money
Matt.
Speaking of,
he got injured, and the man been kicking forever. He is still one of my favorites. Still one of my favorites, and I don't think we were so used to Matt winning games. There were times where we actually did well with winning, but it was Matt Bryant's foot that really got us to a lot of wins. So we miss that, and we miss seeing that. But again, coming out of college, if you ever watch any of these college football games, there are a lot of kickers that are kicking those 54-yard field goals and stuff. So I just think, again, this off season is the exciting time, because if you start Googling and searching, what is coming out of college looking at defense? What is coming out of college looking at a tight end? What is coming out of college? Who is coming out of college looking at a kicker? There's some talent out there. There's a lot of talent.
And we're at selection 15. Where are we at?
15. I thought it was that we went up because we were 17.
Number 15.
No longer at 8.
Yeah, no longer in the top 10.
In the teens. Number 15, y'all.
That's growth, y'all.
That's why I understand the reason why they picked Micah Penix at number 8.
Because he said we never would be there again.
We want to fail that far.
Maggie, we were questioning that, but now I understand why.
Right.
Baby, that was a hell of a goddamn pick.
And Terry, I trust. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all not gonna praise this man for all the work he been doing, and then go here and want to be done with him. Keep that same energy he gave to clean up all this mess that was before him, years before him, and cleaned it up basically in a season and a half, if you ask me. And still doing stuff. That's a lot of work to do.
And he didn't have no money at the time when he took over.
Right. And we was at cap space hell.
We reuse players.
But this is the kicker.
SOS.
Right. Terry's not going anywhere. The Saints wish they would have allowed. They never would give him a chance at the GM seat. So I wish all the Saints fans just shut up, because they wouldn't even give him the chance at the GM seat. Loomis always took that kind of control.
Yeah.
So when he came here, that was his opportunity. Somebody believed in his talent to do the things that he has done. And again, he has served as that middleman that goes out there. What type of player do you need? You know, what's your scheme? Then this is what we're looking for. Who is it exactly you looking for? Man, and that's why I'm saying, if you look at if we got 30 free agents, look across the league of how many free agents, and then look at the new draftees and who are we going to re-sign. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that this one man isn't doing it. He said he has a scouting team.
It's a
Yeah.
team.
You know,
Yeah.
even with dealing with the free agents, and he said he had mentioned something about sitting down with the players to see what they want. Even Raheem also said that at the beginning of the season, sit down with the players to see exactly how can we support them. If it's not here, it's somewhere else. So I think that's a collaborative effort that we're about to see. I think season 2 is going to be different. And that's why I had to change. Now, I hate the way Raheem get up there and talk, because, you know, it sounds a little slack. I ain't lying. I am not removing what I said after that yesterday's press conference, because as a fan, I feel that way. You know, don't discount us. Like Ms Maggie said, she's been a Falcon fan all her life. Just imagine being the only child in your family. I'm a Bills fan first and then became a Falcons fan. I have never seen a Super Bowl win, you know, even as a kid, but I don't even backtrack on any of that. But I think the off season is exciting. And if you think back to last year this time, we never let out. I know AFN didn't, because I was on y'all stuff.
We was on
y'all page all the time. That it was always something going on. It was always a press conference, and another thing was happening, another thing. I think this off season will be just as exciting as last year.
Yeah.
That's a question from Engine number 9. Appreciate you tuning in. Dixon. Do you think the problem was Jimmy Lake or Raheem? Of course, we already talked about this a little earlier, but we can reiterate that again. Which one was it? I know Pam is very vocal on what she feels the situation is. Anybody else have who to blame about that?
I think it's a split. I think it's split between the two. Is the head coach, because you make the personnel hires and fires. You have to know when to take over. You have to know when something ain't working for your team. And I think he gave a little bit too much trust in Jimmy Lake, being able to try to give him his quote unquote wings to spread off and fly. But unfortunately, he fell out the nest and could not get the fuck up. So then Jimmy Lake, I appreciate you, but you need to go on back to college. It's okay. Some people can't make it in the NFL, and it just is what it is. And we just need a new DC, and just a quick little skit off this shit to the question. Oh, I don't need the Saints fans to say nothing after they got a GM that hired Timu Ritter, so they don't need to say nothing about what's going on over here.
Not Timu.
Timu.
Ooh, not even.
Wow.
Let me get you're roughing the post up there. You ruffling some feathers over here.
But yeah, I think it's a double dose. It's both of their fault.
Right. Yeah, it's more so Raheem, because he, like you said, that was a good analysis.
All in their defense. I don't care what nobody say, but Jimmy Lake is your scapegoat. That's what I'm gonna say. I got my pick of an offensive coordinator, but do I think he gonna pick him? Probably not.
He need to go too. I don't care what y'all say.
Well, now he gonna be here another year.
Oh, and Penix was his scapegoat, even though that's just raw talent right there that made him make him seem like he did the play calling to fit Penix. No, just Penix is just generates of talent. So yeah, that's
Penix that dude.
To tell you the truth, Zach Robinson, that offensive coordinator, the pistol is perfect for Penix. So he gonna be hell on wheel next year. I mean,
we gonna see Pam. We gonna
year.
see
This
IC.
think
The only thing is, he's got to get on the court to that the receivers, Mooney, Drake, and all that. He's been noticed that he's been practicing with the second team receiver, like Washington and Blair. So once he gets on the same page with them, it's gonna be something to look at.
Oh, I'm definitely using that Timu Ritter for the Ain't fans this upcoming season. I'm definitely using that.
Wow.
That's some good ammo.
Coaching search. At least we got one that we can work with. Y'all don't even have one. You got to worry about Loomis. You got to worry about y'all only won 5 games and the Super Bowl is in your area. You should be using this time to make sure you don't have no more terrorist attacks for whoever's coming in for the interview, so they won't be scared to bring their family out.
People, I'm hoping it's Steve Wilkes. But you think he gonna hire Steve Wilkes? I'm hoping it'll be Steve Wilkes. But
I like Steve Wilkes now because he
ain't gonna hire him. That's the question.
He need to.
Is it
he need to.
I don't think he gonna hire him because he
I mean, it's stupid.
Defense. Y'all push the screen right there. Who do y'all think? I see some people already fired in the chats. Who do you think if we did get rid of Jimmy?
I'm hoping to see Wilkes.
Yeah, Wilkes would be a good fit.
I don't think
he turned that Panthers team around.
Raheem will have a choice again. What's on the line? That 2028, that gunning for that 2028 Super Bowl. It'll be like I still again go back to that press conference. He was so pro Kurt, and it wasn't another 24 hours. Michael Penix will be starting, the next game against the Raiders. And so I think it'll get to a point like we're not going through this again. I think it'll be to that point. And again, this is just a prime example. I know what my friends and family, I know how they are. Ain't no way I'm taking them suckers to work. I'll meet y'all outside. We could go hang out after I get off work. But it's just some people you just can't take with you if they can't hold up. You know what I mean? And I know some family members won't take me anywhere. So, hey, because they know I'm flipped. So it's the same way. You just can't do it. And then you can't just follow your friends somewhere to work. And then you don't know how you got to uproot your family again. And I just believe one of them going to have to go. And it ain't Zach.
So, question.
No, it ain't Zach. No, it's not gonna be Zach.
I'll take the better one over.
He could go there. And then we'll close it up since nobody is jumping on tonight.
Jump on. Oh.
Well, what do you think, Antonio, about the white ones that get fired in the middle of the season? To me, a coach is a coach. A bad coach is just a bad coach. I mean, I don't know. It'll be like us hiring Raheem. I just wanted to be better than what we had experienced the previous. I didn't give a damn if they were the purple people eater. We just needed somebody competent that can we get to some wins? Can I attend a game? I have not attended a game since before. It was before 2018 in the Benz. The last time I attended a game we won was in the old stadium. It was in the old one. I have gone to maybe it's me. I shouldn't show up in Atlanta for the game because whenever I come and I'm down near the field, I don't see us win. And so I'm yet to attend any game, and I pay for tickets that we win. I said, well, maybe I should just stay at home. Maybe I should be, and maybe it's me that's cursed.
But no, it's those opposing fans that we don't play be at the game, like them new Ain't fans that we ain't even playing, y'all wearing jerseys to and supporting our game. It's them folks. That's who cursing us.
Cowboy fans, because no matter where in this country I go to an Atlanta Falcons game, you will see a Cowboys fan. They are at our games.
They like roaches.
Cowboys
they are like roaches. Get rid of them.
I want to be a devil's advocate, ladies. No, it doesn't matter. But I honestly felt, this is just my honest opinion. We did see a lot of black head coaches start getting head coaching jobs because of they've been very vocal about it lately. So to me, it's just me that we was meeting quotas in the NFL, and that's just me. That's just how I feel. So for that question, for what Antonio Holloway was saying, what do you feel about these black coaches getting fired after a year? It happens across the league, but our African American community works so hard to get looked at and considered. There's some black coaches that can possibly be head coaches that keep continuing to get overlooked because of the buddy system.
Right.
So I'm going to go there because I'm very. I mean, I've talked to the former players that Terrence Matthews, head coach of Morehouse. These players are not getting the opportunity. These are people that played the game. No, got their head on straight, but they're being overlooked by somebody's friend that played for people, worked at Home Depot.
Right.
So for me, of course, you don't do your job, you don't do your job. But on another platform, we're trying to see black head coaches. Now, if you're not good, you're not good. But let's see a lot more successful head coaches. So Raheem, for instance, you got to look at the track record of Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith had how many years? Dan Quinn had how many years?
3.
Arthur had 3. Dan had like 5.
5, because he had 3 after the Super Bowl, 2 prior. Super Bowl and prior. Yeah.
There is 3 regressive years.
You think they're getting ready to fire Raheem in the first
year? No.
That ain't gonna
work. I don't care how people ask. This city will go up if they fire fucking Raheem after 1 fucking year.
And it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to fire Raheem when everybody. Now it's 3 regressive years under Arthur Blank. That's for all the coaches under Arthur Blank. It's 3 regressive years. So this first year establishes the 8 games. The second season we're expecting more, but it's 3. He has always given at least 2.5 to 3 regressive years.
Yeah.
And so that's why Dan Quinn was in there as long as he was. Because he regressed after the Super Bowl.
After 3 years, too many.
We made the playoffs in 17, so we started regressing in 18.
We started regressing.
He shouldn't have been. I told he had 2 years too many because we definitely should not have re-signed him. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
But there, back then there was no way of knowing. So I agree with that. But look, the Raiders keeping their black coach.
I thought
he got fired. He got fired.
They fired
him. Yeah, they fired him. Yeah.
Oh, Raiders. Yeah, but you got to take into consideration with that. What's his name? Adams. That was your best player. That was tension between him and Antonio. He went to the Jets and played for even worse team.
I mean, but the fact is that it's like, I understand player morale and different things like that, but how can you do that after the first year? Because even Dan Quinn was 8-8 at his first year. We ended up going to the Super Bowl the next fucking year. You got to at least give a coach 2 years. That just is what it is. Why you cutting them off immediately? I don't understand that, because I'm like, you haven't gotten them players time to set into their get their full team,
their culture,
or in their culture or anything else like that. That's why I asked Kelly about how are the players feeling. Does he still have the locker room? And if he does, let it continue on. Now his ass is his left cheek is on that hot seat, but I don't believe that a coach should be fired after the first year. But a lot of these owners, they so quick to chuck and thinking that somebody is gonna do something. It's like that causes issues for your team, because just like you don't want to move every year and have to reset up your home, have to get the couch, how this gonna fit here, what if your sofa from your old place don't fit your new place, and all that extra stuff like that. It's the same thing when going into the culture of a football team, and that's what we're kind of experiencing in this first year. That's why I kept telling people, like, calm down, because there's still a lot of players that's up on the contract that Rob did not bring in. So it's like once he fully gets his teams on how he wanted, then we can start be like, nigga, you need to go. Here go your shit. Hit the door. But I mean, it's just like, it's ridiculous. But it just goes to show that Black coaches do not get that extra hang time or don't get the grace that other people do. Because I had to cut a couple of people off on Facebook and like, hey, what was all this rah-rah when Arthur Smith had our asses going goddamn 7 and goddamn 10 for 3 goddamn years? You didn't buy the eyelash, you didn't type nothing in the goddamn chat, so keep your fingers off the goddamn chat, the keyboard, the query board, keep it off for at least a year. Like, goddamn.
But the icing on the cake his last season was he lost that locker room, and you can tell in the postseason interviews with the locker cleanup. Two people definitely were highly. They spoke basically ready to get rid of him. Grady was number 1. Drake was number 2. If you go back and watch the interviews from those 2 people, those were your top people. Like, because Drake was basically on the saying that something got to give type of aspect, and the quote from Grady, that's where that came from with the Arthur Smith regime.
And I like what Blackberry said right here in the home team with Blackberry. He said, I think we have to run it back, and I agree, because it is a roller coaster of a carousel, like you said. It's the only way to truly see if we can become a consistent winning franchise. The coordinator carousel has to stop, and the head coach stability to be established. It keeps revolving. So
I don't know, but I understand what he's saying, but I don't know about this defensive coordinator.
I'm about to say, let that carousel for them roll one more time.
Yeah, let it fly on off of that horse, because I don't know about that one. But I understand what he's saying, because again, in order to build anything, you have to give it an opportunity.
I can answer this question with D1A said here. How do the Falcons get better with players? Get better players when we are one back in the cap. Like, we really do. Like she said, we have 30 people.
We have 30.
30.
So we can really do a lot with that. Some people might have to take some cuts, and
it's some folks gonna get cut, because it's some folks we haven't heard of at all. If you go on the Falcons website and they got those 30 listed, some of them have never even touched. They don't even have a picture of them in a Falcons uniform. So some of them may have been on the practice squad.
Harry's gonna cook,
but I think they're gonna play around with it. It's just like playing the shell game or being in Vegas and you playing roulette. I think this is the time. That's why I said I think this is the exciting time where they go back to the drawing board to see what is coming up. And I think it's going to be pivotal with Terry's interview to see what exactly is he going to say on what the plans are moving forward. Again, if you go
Thursday night, people tune in.
So
let me ask you this: with other players, take the light off of Grady as far as veterans, do you think, as far as when it comes to cap, do you think they get rid of McGarry? Jake Matthews is very pricey. I think at the time he was like number 2 or number 3 as highest paid players. So do you think it's time to go ahead and walk with Jake? You got Kyle. We already know we not picking up his 5th year salary, and then Justin Simmons.
I can answer that. I think they're gonna draft Matthews' replacement.
Okay.
In this draft. And as far as McGarry, he's gonna probably be on that side. They're gonna probably just add some pieces to help out on that side. I don't see McGarry. A lot of people nitpicking on McGarry, but I think he's doing a pretty good job.
You forget he's now the blind side.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know
so
he's a blind
that's
side,
a whole different beast. He's the blind side.
But you got to look at Michael Penix delivered that ball out real quick. you know.
Yeah.
You know,
it's different.
So it's a different person. Now he's good at the running game. Now, I mean, he can mow some player down in the running game, but with Michael Penix quick release, you know, I think he'll be okay, but they'll still probably add somebody on that side. I'll say.
All right, ladies, let's go ahead. We're getting close to 2 hours now. Let's go ahead and close it on. Nobody's jumping on the neck. It's okay. We'll be back next Tuesday with more commentary because we're gonna do this a little bit, probably to the Super Bowl, maybe, possibly. Let's see. We'll see how we feel. But now before we probably will have special guests on. So I'm in DMs and stuff like that right about now, just to give you guys some expertise, you know, in this. You know, of course, the ladies are very knowledgeable, beautiful. This is the first show that you really see as a content creator that is all women on this panel. That's why I told Kelly, I was like, you guys, you and Tori, and all those ladies out there, it's a new era now in sports and entertainment where women need to speak their piece as well because we watch it just like the guys. So I just wanted to get this platform out there, and I appreciate you guys on this panel for riding out with me for this season. Like I said, people in the chat, we'll let you know what we're going to do for the remaining of the offseason. I think we're probably going to take a little slow down after fun is done, and we'll focus more on OTAs, draft, later on in the season. We might do some, because it's going to be some moves and shapes and things, so we might do some impromptu shows when some stuff is happening, things like that. So we might do that. But other than that, y'all get out there and content create. Use this time now to talk about how you feel. I love to see new content creators out there. Let's build this Atlanta Falcons, atmosphere. We need the fans talking. I'm telling you, I want to tune in so many shows this off season and subscribe to so many things, as well as we have a red and black event July 27. You need to be donating to my Cash App, $ Atlanta Falcons Nation, as well as our GoFundMe. The link, I should have put that. The link is in the description, but I'll put that in the video. July 26th, free parking. Let's go. It's, last year I got rolled. What's going on? Situation, but y'all stood with us. It's all completely fixed now. Food is great. Drinks are great. We finna have y'all know it's open bar when it comes to nation. Come to drink and how you feel, because all the donations that comes our way, we want to give it back to you, as well as also that fund goes towards our education fund. I think, was that you, Chris, that donated last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
because I wanted to come to training camp, and since I couldn't, I just donated my travel money.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
In support of.
So she sure.
Yeah, I plan on trying to be there this year though, because I want to go to training camp.
I can't wait.
I would love for us ladies to go to. I want to go to training. I have that's on my bucket list to go to training camp.
Yeah.
Go in the background and check my score to see if they're gonna be having flowery grants.
Hopefully they have it.
It's open now. It was only closed this past season due to the construction to the new locker room, the new weight room, and the new cafeteria for them. So as a safety precaution, that's why fans weren't allowed on the premises. But so now that's done. We back in business. We'll be back on the property this upcoming training camp.
We'll be back on the hill.
Yes. It was crowded. So fraction too. Like that gave them excitement. They was looking forward to it. It was kind of lonely. I think they brought the screens in so the players can see themselves and see how they operate and react. I think that's a good concept. But I think they purposely did that so the players can we don't have the fans react, so we can actually see how I'm playing on the big screen. Let's rewind this back. I don't want to embarrass myself, so let me get my practice on. Let me do better. But I do hope they're open. I definitely
do. I miss going there because I actually planned it. Like 2 or 3 training camps. playing it around, to just to see how the team is and all that.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is my first training camp with that.
Okay.
I can't remember how many years prior to the Super Bowl. I've never missed a training camp. So this messed up my streak. Yes.
Right.
So yeah, I'm one of the ones. I be one of before the like first 10 to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to get there early before the crowd to get my spot. I have a certain spot. Yeah.
So what we did, we just kind of collectively met somewhere. I think it was at my house. Everybody met at my house, and we all just kind of, well, depending on what time, side of town you're coming from, but most people that was closer to me, they met at my house, and then we just all traveled together and got there at the same time. Well, some was ahead of us, so they was like, I'm already here. But we typically try to gather together because we also like to hang out after that, like at the local restaurants nearby. Just to, after that, everybody's hungry and heat anyway. So that's what we did. That's a collective. The Atlanta Falcons Nation. We just kind of got all together. Mike, Dunn, all of them. After the game, after the practice, and it was great. Actually was able to talk to Tori. She pulled us, over. She came in and talked to us and everything. So I have a lot of good rapport with a lot of these people. And I don't do it just for a personal game. I just love the fact that they're so humble and they ask me questions. They take my invites. They're people too, as you can see with Kelly. Well, let's go ahead and close it out. I know everybody's getting sleepy. Good night, everybody. Thank you guys again. Please donate to the Cash App. Like I said, once again, we appreciate you guys. What y'all got going, ladies? How you gonna wrap this up?
Well, I'm going to pull out my talons a little bit, ruffle my feathers, that Drake London and Bijan did not get into the Pro Bowl. I feel like that shit is a travesty. I feel like they was better than some of the players that did get selected at wide receiver and running back. However, Hodge getting his spotlight for it. I knew Chris was going to get up in there anyway, but it was great to see that Hodge, because he did great this year, and I'm actually hoping they do bring him back again, because him and that catch on Sunday was like that was a thing of fucking beauty. So I'm hoping they do sign him. He was a great spot for HBCUs. They did put him on the map. They actually started HBCU initiative, so that did make me mad that Bijan didn't make the Pro Bowl, but it means that's gonna put another fire up on the Bijan ass to go even harder next year. But I mean, it's been a great. It was I won't say great season. I'm happy to be over 7 wins. I still believe in Raw, and I'm still gonna let Terry cook. But baby, they better hope that their kitchen don't close, because the baby folks gonna be for their ass next year. But
hey,
we got our QB1. We got MP9. I am looking forward to next year.
Okay, Miss. Yeah, and I hear your son in the background. He was like, "Yep, that's it."
Yep.
Well, I mean, right next to her, Miss Bree.
Oh, just piggybacking on I'm just very optimistic and excited to see what we have in store for next season, to get a little glimpse of what we are going to expect. These opposing teams, especially you other NFC opponents, be ready for next season, because this Falcons team definitely going to be deadly.
Oh, but
Pick
you
your
already
poison. That's all I'm going to say for next season. Pick your poison.
And they rubbing their fingers like, man, we got to do something, because we get him with a healthy offseason. These players out there ready to catch and everything with him. Oh, y'all be on notice, NFC South. The Falcons coming for you.
Special thanks to everybody in the chat, and especially all of the content creators that has shouted out the Ladybirds. We really appreciate you. It's a hard job, and I don't know how Ms Maggie does it with balancing a family and then trying to at least help everybody else get their pages, their time going live, set up and everything. I mean, shout out to you, Ms Maggie.
Yeah, that little up at the beginning, like, I'm just gonna chop it up. Let's just y'all heard the the heavy hitters, or whatever their intro was. Them. That's all right.
Look, that's all right. Look, we done took over. And to shout out to all the content creators that have. Let me tell you, my mother was diagnosed with cancer last fall, and dealing with her, I take care of 4 elderly adults or disabled adults, which is my mother, my brother, an uncle, and an aunt. And I'm in the middle of a whole lot of stuff. So to get through my work day and to stay awake and to keep up with everybody's appointment, I'm always listening to everybody. So shout out to y'all. Oftentimes you don't know what fans are going through, and sometimes you are that ray of sunshine for some of us to just get our voices out or to be heard. And I appreciate it. And I noticed that there are several content creators that are giving up their channels because life is just life. And so we really do appreciate y'all that are, again, putting the team that we love forward, putting sharing a part of yourselves. We're seeing a lot of your talents. I call it YouTube University because during the pandemic, that's how I found AFN. That's how I found Mike, and I actually found Mike through K Styles page. I think him and Big Low Country and Mike were on the thing together. That's how far back that goes. And through them, I found like 60 other. I didn't even know there was that many content creators on YouTube alone that was just Falcon. So I could have in my house Falcon all day, all night, and so I canceled my cable. That's how.
Oh yeah.
When I saw that it was a great way to keep adult children out of my house, man. Right now, I have us on my phone and us on, the Ladybirds on my TV. The back room has somebody on. They don't even come over here because they know,
that
hey,
you
it's football season on. She got that stuff on, man. That she's in there being a bird. I catch it, but hey, they know this is my unwind. And if anybody's ever had counseling, I had to find what did I like. And that was the first time in 20 years when your life changes and everything switches for you, that I had to find something I enjoyed. And I had to go revert, as a girl growing up with a bunch of boys. I was like, I need me a team. I mean, it goes back to the Michael Vick era when I came in following him from college. But I switched from being a Bills fan from the time I was 9 to being a Falcons fan, and I never picked my foot up off the gas on representing us. So thank y'all so much for everything that you do to share the love that you have, not only for the team but your talents as well.
I want to add something after everybody else with their last say here because you said something there that something that moved me just recently. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and close out. But it's something that I want to share. Um, what you said. So I'm gonna let y'all finish, but I do want to close it out with something special. So Pam, you want to go ahead and say your last.
Yeah, I want to end this. I lost a very important person in my life. So say a special prayer to my family. Elfa Hewley lost her life on Thursday, and so say a special prayer to her husband, and keep our family in prayer. It's been a kind of difficult week, but I'm surviving, and I'm very thankful for this platform because it's helped me to pretty much forget about what was going on, personal life and all that. And more than that, I'm very optimistic about the season, and I'm gonna pick it out what Michael Penn said, that about mainly about Bijan. He said he can hand the ball out and just actually see him to just run these amazing plays. So I'm very optimistic about the offense, and I'm confident that they will build this defense up to hopefully to my expectation or to the fan base expectation. And that's it.
Everybody, did we miss
I got
anybody?
one more shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Want to shout out Uncle Steve's Lounge. He went live yesterday, and of course, I support his show when I can. And I did made sure to let him know about me and you all having our show. He did promote our show last night on his show before closing out. So I just wanted to shout him out as well, and also let the other fans know to search on YouTube Uncle Steve's Lounge and support his stream as well. Great
Okay.
content.
We love it. We definitely do. I appreciate everybody that's been coming in here, and this is something that I wanted to kind of mention. A lot of people probably followed me from it was Lust Exchange to Champagne Confessions. This is something I do because, and like with Cam, I actually just buried my blood auntie December, right around Christmas. Now I actually have a situation where actually I couldn't go tonight. They went to go see one of my mother's aunties closest, so she's family to us. She's in ICU fighting for her life right now. And they're giving us to go ahead and say your prayers to her at this point.
Yeah.
So for me, this is therapy. For me, last year was a lot for me personally with this channel, keeping it going from my ups and downs. I have seasonal depression, anxiety. I have a child that is has mental things going on with her. I have an autistic son. I'm divorced. Just bought a house. I'm raising my kids. I'm supporting them. So I appreciate everybody that comes in here and shows me love. I don't care how small the fans are that comes out to these watch parties. But what hit me today, and that's why I bring this up. I became a mental health and wellness coach because, for one thing, I also know I need to see a therapist and things like that. I know the importance of self-improvement, self-help, self-healing. But because of my daughter, what she was going through, she's doing great now. She was in and out the hospital. We didn't know which way she was coming and going at some point. So for someone to hit me up that watches Atlanta Falcons, I said, how did you find out about me? I watch you guys faithfully. He came out and wanted to get some counseling.
Wonderful.
He sat there and he felt comfortable enough to be vulnerable with me. We cried and everything. And that's what I want. This is my other side. Like Atlanta Falcons Nation, a lot of people say that this is helping them get through their days.
Right.
All these content creators, y'all don't understand the laughter that you guys make for these people. It saves a lot of lives. So let's stop the fighting amongst content creators. Let's get together. Let's stop separating. This is what I'm here for. That's why I put together the Ladybirds of AFN, because if the ladies got to do it, to show these fellas how to do it together, let it be.
Yeah.
No, so follow me. Y'all can find me on social media. My phone number is there. My email is there. It's private. It's confidential. I don't discuss it with anybody. And then please pray for everybody that's going through something right now. You just don't never know what's happening in these people's lives every day, including players and coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Smart. Lost his father. So prayers, everybody. On that note, go ahead and get up out of here. We'll see y'all next Tuesday. I know it got deep here, but we needed it. Thank you, guys. Good night. Peace.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Joe,